And for the last lesson of this unit, we're going to learn how to graph in standard form. So what is standard form? That is when the equation is in the form ax plus by equals c, where x and y are on the same side. X and y terms are on the same side. And the constant is on the opposite side of x and y terms. So you've got your x term, your y term on the same side, and then equals your constant term. A is the coefficient in front of the x term. B is your coefficient in front of the y term, and C is the constant, which has no variable. Also, for it to be standard form, A, B, and C all have to be integers. In order to graph an equation that's in standard form, you must first convert to slope-intercept form, which means you have to solve for y. So we're going to combine how we know how to graph in slope-intercept form from previous lesson with solving for variables. So think back to Unit 2 when we did literal equations. That's why we learned it. So we're going to start with question 1 on a piece of paper, solving for y. All right, so let's solve these equations for y. So here's my y term. I want to get that by itself. I don't need this x, so I will be subtracting x on both sides. So I now have negative y equals, and especially since I want these in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, I want my x term first, and then that positive 8. And now I need to get rid of this negative, which is an invisible -1. So I'll divide everything by -1, which gives me y equals a positive x minus 8, which means my slope is a 1. Again, there's an invisible 1 with that x, and b, my y-intercept, is -8. For the next problem, I'm going to do the same steps. I'm going to move my x term to the other side to get the y term by itself. So minus 4x on both sides. 5y equals, again, I'll put my x term first, negative 4x minus 30. And then I want to divide both sides by 5. So negative 4 divided by 5, that does not reduce, so I will leave it as negative 4/5 x. Again, I pull the x out next to it, it means the same thing. And then negative 30 divided by 5 is negative 6. So my slope is negative 4/5, and my y-intercept is negative 6. Next problem, same steps, solve for y. Minus 4x on both sides to get the y term by itself. And then get rid of that negative by dividing both sides by a -1, which means I have just a 4x. So my slope is 4, and like the last video, if there is no plus a number, we can imagine there's a plus 0, because adding 0 doesn't change the equation. So my b, my y-intercept, is going to have to be 0. All right, I've typed in my answers here, and make sure you do put in a picture of your work here. I'm going to go ahead and graph it, starting at my y-intercept of 0. My slope is 4, which I can think of as 4/1. It's positive, so I want to make sure my graph goes up. So I can go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. And I can also go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1 to the left. And then graph my line. Solving for y again, move my x term to the other side to get the y term by itself. Negative 2y equals a negative 3x minus 14. Divide both sides by negative 2. So here, negative 3 divided by negative 2. A negative divided by a negative is a positive 3/2, but 3 over 2 won't reduce. And a negative 14 divided by a negative 2 is a positive 7. So my slope is 3/2, and my y-intercept is 7. To graph this one, I'm going to start at my y-intercept of 7. Unfortunately, the graph only goes up to 6, so 7 is just off of our graph, but we'll still be able to make it work. So if I need to go a slope of 3/2, I definitely don't want to go up 3 and right 2 because then I'll be way off the graph. So instead, I'll go down 3 and left 2 so that my graph will still have a positive slope and be going up from left to right. So to go down 3 from 7, I'm going to go down 1 to 6, down 1 more to 5, and down 1 last time to 4. And then I'm going to go over 1, 2. Okay, I'll do that same slope again. Down 3. Oops, let's go a different one. Down 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 1, 2. One more, down 1, 2, 3, and over 1, 2. And I'll just grab my line and put that through my points. And there you have it.